I could see the future in 3-second bursts, but I never saw them coming. The rain hammered Seattle like it had a personal grudge. I stood on the fire escape outside the penthouse suite of the Obsidian Tower, water streaming down my tactical gear, and for the first time in 5 years, my hands shook. Not from fear, from the vision that just slammed through my skull 30 seconds ago. 3 alphas, 1 room, my scent hitting the air, everything burning. I pressed my palm against the cold brick and steadied my breath. My name is Kai Rivers, and I'm very good at 2 things: killing people who deserve it and staying invisible while I do it. The Syndicate pays me obscene amounts of money to make problems disappear. Tonight's problem: the crossed triplets, Dante, Roman, and Sterling. Or 3 alpha Mafia dons who'd been bleeding into Syndicate territory for months, and my handler wanted them gone. Simple job. In and out. 3 bullets. 3 bodies. Except my precognition kept showing me the same image on loop. Me, frozen, staring into storm gray eyes that looked at me like they'd been searching for me their entire lives. Ridiculous, I muttered, pulling the silencer from my belt. My power didn't do feelings. It showed me violence, danger, the next 5 moves in a fight. It didn't show me whatever the hell that was. I slipped through the window with practiced silence. The penthouse smelled like expensive leather, bourbon, and something else. Something that made my Omega instincts prickle to attention. A scent so layered and intoxicating, it felt like a weapon aimed directly at my chest. Cedarwood, smoke. Something darker, richer, dangerous. My vision pulsed. 2 seconds. The door on your left opens. I ducked behind the marble bar just as the door swung wide. Footsteps, slow, deliberate. Roman, I don't care what the Italians think. We're not negotiating. The voice was smooth, cold authority wrapped in velvet. It slid down my spine like a blade. I peeked around the corner. The alpha standing in the center of the room wasn't what I expected. Dante Cross, I'd memorized all 3 faces from the dossier, was tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a perfectly tailored black suit that probably cost more than my last 6 contracts combined. Dark hair, sharp jawline, and an expression that suggested he'd never smiled in his life and didn't plan to start. But it was his scent that gutted me. Cedarwood and smoke, yes, but underneath, something warm. He's safe, like coming home after years in the cold. My stomach twisted. Omegas didn't react like this. Not to targets. Not to alphas they were supposed to murder. Dante, you're being unreasonable. Another voice closer. I flattened against the bar as a second alpha entered. Roman, based on the tattoo sleeve visible under his rolled shirt cuffs. He moved like a fighter, all controlled power and casual menace. We don't have the manpower for a war right now. Then we get creative. Dante's tone didn't change. Sterling's meeting with the arms dealer tonight. If that goes well, we'll have enough firepower to make the Italians reconsider. My vision flickered. 1 second. Dante turns. He smells you. Shit. I should have scent blocked before coming in, but the Syndicate insisted I save it for the exit. Stupid. I was about to be made, and my only options were fight or run, and fighting 2 alphas, possibly 3 if Sterling showed up, was a death sentence, precognition or not. But I didn't move. Dante's head tilted, slowly, like a wolf catching prey on the wind. Roman! His voice dropped an octave. Do you smell that? Roman stilled, sniffed the air. His eyes widened. Omega! My heart slammed against my ribs. This was it. Move, Kai, move! But Dante was already turning, and when his eyes locked on mine, storm gray exactly like the vision. I forgot how to breathe. For 3 seconds, nobody moved. The rain battered the windows. My finger hovered over the trigger. Dante stared at me like I was a ghost he'd been hunting, and Roman looked between us like he'd just walked into a bomb about to detonate. Then Dante smiled. Not a nice smile, a predator's smile. And the kind that said he knew exactly what I was, what I'd come here to do, and he found it amusing. Well, he said softly, his scent wrapping around me like chains I didn't want to break. This is unexpected. My vision slammed into me again, Harder this time. Dante stepping closer, his hand on my wrist, my gun on the floor, his mouth at my throat, whispering, "You were never going to kill us, sweetheart. You were always meant to stay." I pulled the trigger. The bullet buried itself in the wall 2 inches from Dante's head. Not because I missed, because at the last possible second, I chose to miss. And from the way Dante's smile widened, dark, knowing, triumphant, he knew it too. "Run," Roman said quietly, his voice laced with something that sounded horribly like pity. "Before Sterling gets here, honey, he won't be as patient." But I was already moving, crashing back through the window into the rain, my heart racing and my mind screaming one word on repeat. "Mate!" The word chased me down the fire escape like a curse I couldn't outrun. My boots hit each metal platform with a clang that echoed through the alley, rain soaking through my gear, and my precognition kept flashing useless images. Me turning back, me at their door, me on my knees with my throat bared like some pathetic romance novel Omega. "Absolutely not," I hissed, dropping the last 8 feet and landing in a crouch. My ankle screamed in protest, but I ignored it. Pain I could handle. Whatever the hell just happened upstairs, that was a different kind of problem. I'd been doing this for 5 years. 5 years of clean kills, 0 complications, in exactly 0 moments where I looked at a target and thought, maybe I should reconsider murder because he smells like my soul's missing piece. This was bad. This was catastrophically, career-endingly bad. I sprinted toward my motorcycle, parked 3 blocks away under a broken streetlight. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I knew without looking it was Marcus, my Syndicate handler, probably wondering why 3 heartbeats were still registering on the penthouse thermal scan instead of 0. I'd deal with Marcus later. Right now, I needed distance between me and whatever supernatural insanity had just hijacked my nervous system. My vision flickered. 4 seconds. Black SUV. You're 3 o'clock. I dove behind a dumpster just as the vehicle rounded the corner, headlights cutting through the rain. It slowed, stopped. The passenger window rolled down, and I pressed myself flatter against the wet concrete, holding my breath. "He went this way." The voice was smooth, controlled. Sterling, the 3rd triplet I hadn't met yet. I can still smell him. Of course he could, because apparently my scent-blocking spray had decided tonight was the perfect night to stop working, and now I was leaving an olfactory trail like breadcrumbs for the 3 alphas I just tried to kill. "Sterling, let him go." That was Dante's voice, and even through the rain and distance, it did something horrible to my pulse. He's spooked. Cornering him now would be a mistake. "He tried to kill you," Sterling said flatly. "That's not someone we let go." "He missed. On purpose." Silence. Then Roman's voice tinged with something that sounded like dark amusement. "Well, this just got interesting." The SUV's engine rumbled. For a heartbeat, I thought they'd leave. Then Sterling spoke again, quieter this time, but the words carried. "You felt it too, didn't you? Both of you." No one answered, but they didn't have to. The silence was confirmation enough. The SUV pulled away slowly, like they knew I was close and wanted me to know they were choosing to leave. Like this was some kind of game, and they just made the first move. I waited until the sound faded completely before moving. My legs felt shaky. My hands were still trembling, and I hated it. I hated that I could face down armed mercenaries without flinching, but 3 alphas and their stupid perfect scent had turned me into this. I reached my motorcycle and swung my leg over, jamming the key in the ignition. My phone buzzed again. This time, us, I answered. "Explain," Marcus said. No preamble, no greeting, just cold demand. "Complications." I kicked the bike to life, the engine's roar swallowing my words. "I'll handle it." "Kai, you had one job." "Yeah, well, maybe next time don't send me after 3 bonded alphas without proper intel." I didn't know if they were bonded, but Marcus didn't need to know that. "I'm not walking into a pack execution for your vendetta. This isn't a vendetta. This is business." His tone sharpened. And you just made it personal? They know what you look like now. They have your scent. My stomach dropped. He was right. In this world, having your scent was basically having your soul's fingerprint. If the cross triplets wanted to find me, they could. And based on what just happened, I had a sinking feeling they would. I need time, I said. I'll finish the contract, but I need time. You have 48 hours. After that, the target shifts. He paused. To you. The line went dead. I sat there in the rain, engine vibrating beneath me, and let myself feel it. The fear, the anger, the stupid, traitorous part of me that wanted to go back, to climb those stairs again, to see if Dante's eyes really did look at me like I mattered. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Unknown. You dropped something. A photo loaded. My spare ammunition clip, sitting on Dante's marble bar. Unknown. We'll keep it safe. Come back for it when you're ready to stop running. Another text. Unknown. Also, the rain looks better on you than tactical gear. Just a thought. I stared at the screen. That last text wasn't Dante's tone. Too casual, too playful, Roman, and somehow, that made it worse, because it meant all three of them were in on this. All three of them knew what I was, what this could mean. My precognition pulsed, showing me a fractured image. Me, standing in that penthouse again. But this time, I wasn't holding a gun. I was holding Dante's hand, and Roman was at my back, and someone else, someone I hadn't seen yet, was kissing my temple like it was the most natural thing in the world. I shoved the phone in my pocket and twisted the throttle. The bike shot forward, tires screeching on wet pavement. I didn't look back, but I didn't delete the number either. And that, I knew, was the beginning of the end. The beginning of the end tasted like rain and regret, and I hated both. I pushed the bike harder, weaving through late-night Seattle traffic like the devil himself was chasing me. Hey, maybe he was. 3 devils, actually, with storm gray eyes and a scent that made my Omega biology forget I was supposed to be a highly trained killer. Not some swooning idiot from a trashy romance. My phone buzzed again in my pocket. I ignored it. Then it buzzed twice more in rapid succession, and my precognition slammed into me without warning. 2 seconds. Your bike, front tire. The bolt's been loose for miles. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. The bike wobbled, just slightly, just enough to make my heart lurch into my throat. I eased off the throttle, scanning for somewhere to pull over that wasn't directly under a streetlight or security camera. There. A closed auto shop with an overhang, dark and empty. I coasted into the shadows and killed the engine. Silence rushed in, it broken only by rain drumming on metal and my own frustrated breathing. I swung off the bike and crouched to examine the front tire. The bolt wasn't just loose, it was nearly gone, threads stripped like someone had been slowly unscrewing it. Sabotage. Professional sabotage. My vision flickered. 3 seconds. Behind you. I spun, hand going for the knife at my thigh, but I wasn't fast enough. Sterling Cross leaned against the shop's wall like he'd been there all night, arms crossed, watching me with the kind of patience that made my skin prickle. He was different from his brothers. Leaner, sharp cheekbones and dark blonde hair that fell across his forehead, giving him an almost artistic look that was completely betrayed by the cold calculation in his hazel eyes. You're predictable, he said. His voice was softer than Dante's, ash warmer than Roman's, but somehow more dangerous. Eastbound on Stewart, then south on 5th, I had 3 different intercept points mapped. You chose the second one. I straightened slowly, keeping the knife visible. You sabotaged my bike. Technically, I paid someone to sabotage your bike 6 hours ago. He tilted his head. I've been tracking you since you took the contract. Did you really think the Syndicate was the only one with eyes in the city? My stomach dropped, but I kept my expression bored. So what? You're here to kill me? Because I've got to tell you, the dramatic stalker routine is a bit much. Something flickered in his eyes. Amusement, maybe. If I wanted you dead, you'd be dead. I want to know why you missed. Maybe I'm just a terrible shot. You put a bullet through a moving target's skull from 400 yards in Portland last month. Anthony Greco. The Syndicate's been bragging about it for weeks. He pushed off the wall and moved closer, and my precognition showed me nothing. No danger, no violence. Just him, stopping 3 feet away, close enough that I could smell him. Vanilla and gunpowder. It mixed with the lingering scent memory of his brothers, and my knees actually went weak. I locked them. Bragging seems excessive. You're deflecting. He studied me with unnerving focus. You felt it. In the penthouse. That's why you missed. I don't know what you're talking about. Kai. My name in his mouth sounded wrong and right simultaneously. I've spent the last 40 minutes listening to Dante and Roman argue about whether to hunt you down or give you space. Do you want to know what I think? Not particularly, he smiled. It was a small thing, barely there, but it transformed his entire face. I think you're terrified, not of us, of this. He gestured vaguely between us. Whatever this is nothing. You're targets. I'm an assassin. Simple math. Then why are you still here? He took another step. Why didn't you shoot me the second you saw me? Your hand's on your knife, but you haven't drawn it. Your power must be screaming at you right now, showing you exactly how this goes if you fight. So why are you just standing there? Because he was right. My precognition was showing me the fight. 12 different versions of it, and in every single one I lost. Well, not because he was faster or stronger, but because halfway through my body would betray me. My Omega instincts would kick in, recognize what he was, and I'd freeze. I'm leaving, I said instead. Fix my bike or don't, I'll walk. I turned. His hand caught my wrist, gentle but firm, and the contact sent electricity straight up my arm and into my chest. My vision exploded with images. Sterling's mouth on mine, his hands in my hair, his body pressing me against a wall, while I gasped his name like a prayer. I yanked free, stumbling back. Don't touch me. Sorry. He held up both hands, but his eyes were burning now, pupils blown wide. But you felt that too. Don't lie. What I feel doesn't matter. My voice came out shakier than I wanted. I have a job. You're the job. This whole fate bond destined mates thing? It's just biology. Pheromones and instinct. It doesn't mean anything. Doesn't it? He moved into my space again, and this time I didn't back up. Couldn't. You could have killed Dante. You had the shot. Clean. Easy. But you moved your gun 2 inches to the left at the last second. That's not biology, Kai. That's choice. It was a mistake. It was mercy. His voice dropped. And you don't do mercy. So what does that tell you? My phone buzzed. Once, twice, 3 times. I pulled it out with shaking hands, desperate for the distraction. 7 texts, all from unknown, all from them. Unknown, Dante. Sterling, stop interrogating him. Unknown, Roman. He's probably scaring the poor thing. Unknown, Sterling. He's not scared, he's thinking. Unknown, Dante. Come home, we'll talk. No threats, no games. Unknown, Roman. We can order Thai food. You look like you could use Thai food. Unknown, Sterling. Also, your bike will be fixed by morning. Consider it an apology for the sabotage. Unknown, Dante. Final offer. 2,347 Westlake. Penthouse. Doors unlocked. I stared at the screen. You're all insane. Probably. Sterling's smile widened. But you're still reading the text. Because I'm documenting evidence for when I finally do shoot you. Sure. He backed toward the shadows. 2347 Westlake. Doors unlocked. But if you don't come, we won't chase you. Not tonight. He paused. Tomorrow, though, all bets are off. Then he was gone, melting into the rain like he'd never been there at all. I stood alone under the overhang, phone in hand, bike broken, and 47 hours left on Marcus's deadline. My precognition showed me 2 paths. Walk away, disappear, or spend the rest of my life running from both the Syndicate and 3 alphas who thought we were mates. Or go to that address, walk through that unlocked door, and let whatever this was burn me alive. I looked at the texts again, at Roman's comment about Thai food, at Sterling's casual promise, at Dante's simple invitation. This is the worst idea I've ever had, I muttered. Then I started walking north, toward Westlake, toward the 3 people I was supposed to kill, toward the only choice that felt like freedom and trap all at once. The walk took 20 minutes, 20 minutes of rain-soaked streets, of my boots splashing through puddles, of my precognition helpfully showing me every possible disaster waiting at 2347 Westlake. Ambush, interrogation, seduction. That last one kept replaying with alarming frequency and detail, which was incredibly unhelpful. Get it together, I muttered, turning onto Westlake. You're a professional. Professionals don't have emotional breakdowns over pheromones. My phone buzzed. Unknown. Roman. You're 2 blocks away. Dante's stress cooking. Send help. Unknown. Sterling. He made 4 different appetizers. We don't even like appetizers. Unknown. Dante. I can see these texts. Both of you shut up. Despite everything, I almost smiled. Then I remembered I was walking toward my own execution, potentially, and the smile died. The obsidian tower loomed ahead, all glass and steel and obscene wealth. I'd scaled it once tonight already. Walking through the front door felt somehow more dangerous. The lobby was empty except for a night security guard who didn't even look up from his phone as I dripped rainwater across the marble floor. Either the cross triplets owned this building, or they'd paid enough people to make sure I could walk in unquestioned. The elevator ride to the penthouse felt like descending into hell, if hell had smooth jazz and motion sickness. My precognition flickered constantly, showing me fragments. Dante's hands on my shoulders, Roman's laugh, Sterling's calculating gaze, all of them surrounding me in a kitchen that smelled like garlic and something sweet. The elevator dinged. The doors opened. I stepped into the hallway and immediately wanted to turn around. The penthouse door was cracked open, warm light spilling out, and I could hear voices inside. Normal voices, domestic voices. One like they weren't Mafia dons and I wasn't the assassin who tried to kill them 2 hours ago. My hand hovered over the door. This was stupid, monumentally stupid. I should leave. I should run. I should do literally anything except walk into this situation. The door swung open before I could decide. Dante stood there, still in his suit, but with the jacket gone and sleeves rolled to his elbows. His hair was slightly mussed, and there was a smudge of what looked like flour on his forearm. He looked at me for 3 long seconds, expression unreadable. "You came," he said finally. "I'm regretting it already." "Fair." He stepped aside. "Come in before you catch pneumonia." Maybe I want pneumonia. Maybe pneumonia is less complicated than whatever this is. His mouth twitched, almost a smile. "Roman said you'd be difficult." "Roman doesn't know me." "Not yet." He gestured into the penthouse. "But we'd like to change that, if you'll let us." I walked past him, hyper-aware of how close we were, how his scent wrapped around me like a physical thing. The penthouse was different than I remembered. Warmer. The floor-to-ceiling windows showed Seattle's skyline glittering through the rain, and the open kitchen was a mess of ingredients and cooking chaos. Roman looked up from where he was chopping vegetables, grinned, and pointed a knife at me. "Hey, look who decided murder was less fun than dinner." "Jury's still out," I said, but my heart wasn't in it. Sterling leaned against the counter, wine glass in hand, watching me with that same unsettling focus. "You walked here, in the rain. Well, that's either dedication or insanity. Can it be both?" "I like him," Roman announced to no one in particular. "Dante, we're keeping him." "He's not a stray cat, Roman. Could have fooled me. He's soaked and looks about 2 seconds from bolting." He wasn't wrong. I stood in the middle of their space, dripping water on expensive hardwood, every instinct screaming at me to run, but my precognition kept showing me the same image. Me staying, me safe. That last part terrified me more than anything. "Why am I here?" I asked. "Really? You don't invite assassins to dinner. You kill them or turn them over to whoever wants them dead. So what's the play?" Dante moved to the kitchen island, poured whiskey into a glass and slid it toward me. No play. Hey, we want to talk. People who want to talk don't sabotage motorcycles. That was Sterling being dramatic, Roman said cheerfully. We voted against it. Sterling raised his wine glass. And yet here he is. You're welcome. I picked up the whiskey, sniffed it, then set it down. I'm not drinking anything you give me until I know you're not trying to drug me. Paranoid, Sterling observed. Professional, I corrected. So, talking. Let's talk about how you're targets and I'm contractually obligated to kill you. Except you don't want to. Dante's voice was quiet, certain. That's why you're here instead of planning your second attempt. My vision pulsed. 1 second. He steps closer. Dante moved around the island, slow and deliberate, until he was standing directly in front of me. Shatter close enough that I had to tilt my head back to maintain eye contact. Close enough that his scent drowned out everything else. I felt it, he said. The moment you came through that window. Before I even saw you, I knew. Roman knew. Sterling knew. His hand lifted, hovering near my face but not touching. Tell me you didn't feel it too. Feelings don't matter in my line of work. This isn't about work. His fingers brushed my jaw, feather-light, and my entire body went rigid. This is about the fact that you're our mate, and you've been out there alone, and we've been looking for you without even knowing it. I jerked back. That's not how it works. Mates aren't real. It's just compatible pheromones and evolutionary biology trying to make sure omegas don't die alone. Is that what you tell yourself? Roman had moved closer too, boxing me in without touching me. Because your scent says it different. You're terrified and angry and confused. But underneath all that, you want this. You want us. I want to finish my contract and not get killed by my own people for failing. That's what I want. Then stay. Sterling's voice came from behind me, and I spun to find all three of them surrounding me in a loose triangle. Not threatening, just present, inescapable. Stay here tonight. Let us prove you're safe, that this is real. My precognition showed me the hours ahead. Talking, laughing, Dante's hand in mine, Roman's warmth at my back, Sterling's kiss that tasted like wine and promises. It showed me something else too. A shadow at the window, a scope's red dot, danger coming and me too distracted to see it. I can't, I whispered. Thunder cracked overhead, so loud the windows rattled. The lights flickered once, twice, then died completely, plunging the penthouse into darkness. In the sudden silence, Roman's voice was barely a breath. Well, guess you're staying after all. Well, guess you're staying after all. The darkness pressed in like a living thing. My precognition flared uselessly, showing me nothing but black, and for the first time in years, I couldn't see what was coming. The vulnerability of it made my skin crawl. Backup generator should kick in, Dante said from somewhere to my left. His voice was steady, calm, like power outages during tense, supernatural mate situations were perfectly normal. Give it 30 seconds. Or, Sterling's voice came from my right, someone cut the power deliberately. My hand went to my knife. And you think this is an attack? I think the timing is suspicious. I heard movement, footsteps crossing the room with confident familiarity. Sterling knew this space in the dark. Roman, check the breaker. Dante, windows. I'll handle our guest. I'm not a guest. I'm an intruder. Let's keep the terminology accurate. A soft laugh, then a flame sparked to life inches from my face, and I flinched back. Sterling held a lighter, the small flame casting shadows across his features. He looked almost otherworldly in the flickering light, all sharp angles and knowing eyes. You're something, he said, but intruder doesn't fit anymore. What does? He studied me for a long moment. That's what we're trying to figure out. The lighter's flame reflected in his eyes, and my precognition suddenly slammed back online with brutal clarity. Their images flooded my mind. Sterling, younger, maybe 16, covered in blood that wasn't his, a man's body at his feet, the same cold calculation in his expression that I recognized because I'd worn it myself 100 times. I sucked in a breath. You were young. When you made your first kill, The flame went still. Sterling's expression didn't change, but something flickered behind his eyes. Recognition, maybe. Understanding. So were you. It wasn't a question. 15, I heard myself say. The darkness made it easier somehow, like confessing to shadows instead of people. The Syndicate found me in Portland after my pack, after I didn't have one anymore. Marcus said I had potential, said my power made me valuable, so I became valuable. What happened to your pack? Dante's voice came from near the windows. I couldn't see him. Yes, but I felt his attention like a physical weight. My throat tightened. I never told anyone this. Not Marcus, not the handful of other Syndicate operatives I'd worked with over the years. But standing here in the dark, surrounded by 3 alphas who should have been corpses, the words came anyway. My father was an alpha, traditional, believed omegas were for breeding and obeying and nothing else. I wrapped my arms around myself, hating the defensive gesture, but unable to stop it. When I presented at 13, he tried to arrange a mating with one of his business partners. 53 years old. I said no. He said I didn't get a choice. The silence that followed was sharp enough to cut. Kai. Roman's voice was gentle, closer than before. You don't have to. I killed him. The words came out flat, matter of fact. My father, or the arranged mate, 3 enforcers who tried to stop me. My precognition showed me exactly how to do it, and I didn't hesitate. Then I burned the whole house down and walked away. The emergency lights flickered on, bathing everything in dim red. I could see them now, all 3 of them, frozen in place and staring at me with expressions I couldn't read. So that's what I am, I continued, keeping my voice steady. I'm the Omega who murdered his way out of his own pack. The Syndicate gave me purpose, direction, a reason to use this power for something other than survival. And now I'm standing in the home of 3 targets, confessing felonies, because apparently my biology has decided you're more important than 5 years of carefully constructed self-preservation. Dante moved first. He crossed the space between us in 3 strides and did something I didn't expect. He pulled me into his arms, one hand cradling the back of my head, the other wrapped around my waist, holding me against his chest like I was something precious instead of something broken. You survived, he said into my hair. That's not murder. That's justice. I stood rigid in his embrace, every muscle locked. The law would disagree. The law protects people like your father. Sterling appeared at my side and his hand found mine, threading our fingers together. People who think power gives them the right to own others. You stopped him. That takes strength, not sin. I was 15. I didn't have strength. I had desperation and a power that showed me where to put the knife. Roman's warmth appeared at my other side. Asha, you had the courage to save yourself when no one else would. That's everything. My vision blurred. When was the last time I'd cried? Years. Actual years. But standing here, caught between 3 alphas who looked at me like I deserved gentleness, the tears came whether I wanted them or not. I don't know how to do this, I whispered. I don't know how to be anything other than what Marcus made me. Dante's hand moved to cup my face, tilting my head up. His eyes were soft, devastated, furious all at once. Then let us show you. Let us teach you that you're more than a weapon, that you always were. I tried to kill you, I said, because apparently I needed to keep reminding everyone of that fact. You tried to kill us, Sterling agreed, but you didn't, and now we know why. His thumb traced circles on the back of my hand. You've been surviving alone for so long, you forgot what it feels like to be chosen, to be wanted for something other than what you can do. Pretty speech for someone who sabotaged my motorcycle. He smiled. I never claimed to be perfect, just persistent. Despite everything, I laughed. It came out broken and wet, but it was real. Roman made a pleased sound and wrapped an arm around my shoulders from behind, completing whatever weird protective triangle they'd formed around me. We have our own ghosts, Roman said quietly. Dante almost died protecting us when we were 16. Gang hit meant for our father. He took 3 bullets and still got us out. His voice roughened. We spent 2 weeks thinking we'd lose him. That's when we swore we'd never let anyone hurt us again. It'd never let anyone get close enough to matter. And then you walked through our window, Dante murmured, and every wall we'd built collapsed in 30 seconds. My precognition flickered. I saw their past now, fragments bleeding through. 3 brothers who'd raised each other in violence, who'd learned to love through survival, who'd built an empire out of necessity and kept everyone at arm's length because closeness meant vulnerability, meant death. We're all damaged, Sterling said. But maybe that's the point. Maybe we're supposed to be broken together instead of perfect alone. The lights flickered again, then stabilized, returning to normal brightness. I blinked in the sudden clarity, seeing them properly. Dante's fierce protectiveness, Roman's gentle strength, Sterling's sharp understanding, and for the first time in 10 years, and I let myself hope that maybe, just maybe, I could be something other than the Syndicate's weapon. Okay, I breathed. Okay, I'll stay. Tonight. Just tonight. Dante smiled and it transformed his entire face. That's all we're asking. But we both knew it was a lie. Tonight would never be enough. The thought hung between us like smoke, visible in the way Dante's smile softened, the way Roman's arm tightened around my shoulders, the way Sterling's hand stayed locked with mine. They knew it too. This wasn't an ending. It was a beginning disguised as a temporary truce. So, I said, because someone needed to break the tension before I did something stupid like kiss one of them. About that Thai food Roman mentioned. Roman laughed, the sound rumbling through his chest into my back. Food. Right. Hit because that's the most important thing happening right now. I'm starving, and emotional vulnerability makes me cranky. Feed me before I remember I'm supposed to be killing you. He's got a point, Sterling said. I've seen hangry. It's not pretty. Dante finally released me, though his hand lingered on my waist for a breath longer than necessary. The appetizers are cold. I'll remake them. You really stress cook? I asked, following him toward the kitchen, because standing still felt dangerous. If I stopped moving, I'd have to think about what just happened, what I just confessed, what they just offered. It's meditative, Dante said, already pulling ingredients from the fridge. Roman stress fights, Sterling stress plans. I stress cook. We're all wildly functional. That's one word for it. I hopped onto a bar stool, Ankara putting the island between us. Distance. I needed distance, except Sterling immediately claimed the stool next to mine, and Roman leaned against the counter on my other side, and suddenly distance was a joke. My precognition flickered, showing me the next hour in fragmented pieces. Laughter, touch, someone's lips on mine. I shoved the vision away. So, Roman said, stealing a cherry tomato from Dante's cutting board and popping it in his mouth. Ground rules. You're staying tonight. What does that mean? Separate rooms, armed guard, protective custody? It means I sleep on your couch and leave before sunrise. Boring, Sterling declared. Counteroffer. You sleep in an actual bed, we prove we're not monsters, and you leave whenever you want. Door's not locked. I looked at him. You'd really just let me walk out. We're not your father, he said quietly, and we're not the Syndicate. You're not a prisoner here, Kai. You never will be. Something in my chest cracked. I covered it with sarcasm. That's a terrible business strategy. I know where you live now. I could come back with actual backup and finish the job. You won't. Dante's knife moved with practiced precision, mincing garlic. Your handler gave you 48 hours. That's why you came. You're not running from us. You're running from him. Too smart. They were all too observant, too calculating, and I hated how good it felt to be seen. Actually seen, not just assessed for my usefulness. Marcus isn't someone you run from, I said. He's someone you survive. Oh, there's a difference. Not anymore. Roman's voice carried an edge I hadn't heard before. Alpha authority, command wrapped in promise. You're under our protection now. Marcus touches you. He answers to us. You can't protect me from the Syndicate. They're everywhere. So are we. Sterling's hand found mine again, and this time I didn't pull away. The Cross family has resources, contacts, power. We didn't become the most feared operation in Seattle by accident. You became the most feared operation by being ruthless. Exactly. His smile was sharp. And now that ruthlessness includes you. Dante slid a plate across the counter. Bruschetta, fresh and perfect, the tomatoes glistening with olive oil and basil. My stomach growled embarrassingly loud. Eat, he ordered. Then we'll figure out the rest. I picked up a piece. I bit into it and nearly moaned. Okay, fine. The stress cooking thing? I support it. Roman grinned. He's good, right? Won't admit it, but he went to culinary school before the family business consumed his soul. Dramatic, Dante said, but his ears went slightly red. You went to culinary school? I asked around another bite. That's possibly the least Mafia thing I've ever heard. I wanted options. He started on something else. Movements efficient and graceful. Turns out organized crime doesn't care about your dreams of opening a bistro. Tragic backstory. I'm moved. But I was, actually. The idea of Dante young and hopeful, before violence became his language, made him suddenly, devastatingly human. Sterling poured wine, slid a glass toward me. This one's sealed. You watch me open it. No drugs, no tricks. Just a very good Pinot Noir that pairs well with emotional breakthroughs. I took the glass, sipped, and felt warmth spread through my chest. You're all ridiculous. You're still here, Roman pointed out. So what does that make you? Someone with terrible survival instincts, apparently. Or someone who's tired of surviving alone. Dante's eyes met mine, and the intensity in them stole my breath. There's no shame in wanting more, Kai. My precognition pulsed. 3 seconds. Dante moves around the counter. He did, abandoning his cooking to stand in front of me. This close, I could see faint scars on his collarbone, barely visible above his shirt. Battle wounds. Proof he'd bled for the people he loved. I'm going to kiss you, he said. Not a question, a statement. And you're going to let me, because you want this as much as we do. My heart slammed against my ribs. Confident. Honest. His hand cupped my jaw, thumb brushing my lower lip. Tell me no. Right now. Tell me you don't want this, and I'll step back. We all will. I should have said no. Should have pulled away. Maintained distance. Remembered that these were targets, and I was a weapon, and nothing good came from mixing the two. Instead, I breathed, I don't know how to want things. Then let us teach you. He leaned in slowly, giving me every chance to stop him. His breath ghosted across my lips. Starting right now. The kiss was gentle, devastating. His mouth on mine felt like coming home and falling apart simultaneously. And when I gasped, he deepened it, his other hand sliding into my hair. I melted into him, years of walls crumbling in seconds. When he pulled back, I was shaking. Roman's hand found my shoulder. Sterling's thumb traced patterns on my wrist. All three of them touching me, grounding me, like they were afraid I'd disappear if they let go. Stay, Dante whispered. Not just tonight. Stay. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Once, twice, 3 times. Reality crashed back in. I pulled it out with trembling hands. 7 new texts from Marcus. Marcus. Time's up, Kai. Where are they? Marcus. You have 36 hours. Marcus. Don't make me send someone else to clean up your mess. Marcus. And by mess, I mean you. The last text was a photo. My old apartment in Portland. The door kicked in. Everything destroyed. Marcus. Come home. Now. Or I'll make you. The warmth in my chest turned to ice. Kai. Sterling's voice seemed distant. What's wrong? I showed them the screen. One watched their expressions shift from soft to lethal in heartbeats. He's threatening you, Roman said. Flat. Cold. He's promising. I slid off the stool, suddenly desperate for air. This was a mistake. I need to go. I need to fix this before... Dante's hand caught mine. No. You don't understand. Marcus doesn't bluff. If I don't deliver, he'll send someone else. Someone who won't hesitate. Someone who'll kill you and then me, just to make a point. Let him try. Sterling stood, and the calculated predator I'd glimpsed earlier was back in full force. We've been handling threats since we were 16. Your handler? He's just another problem, and we're very good at solving problems. My vision flashed. Danger. Blood. Someone dying. But I couldn't tell whose. The vision fragmented before I could grasp it fully, leaving only the metallic taste of fear on my tongue and the certainty that someone in this room was lying. My precognition had never been wrong about danger. Not once in 10 years. Kai, Dante's voice pulled me back. Look at me. I did. His expression was fierce, protective, exactly what it should be. But my power was screaming, and I'd learned a long time ago that when survival and emotion collided, survival always won. How did you know? The words came out sharper than I intended. When I came through that window, you said you felt it before you even saw me. How? Something flickered across Dante's face. Just for a second. Hesitation, maybe. Guilt. Sterling stepped forward. Kai, this isn't the time. How? Did? You? No. I pulled my hand from Dante's grip, backing toward the door. My precognition was firing in rapid bursts now, showing me pieces that didn't fit. Dante's lack of surprise when I appeared. Roman's prepared responses. Sterling's perfectly timed motorcycle sabotage. Answer him. Roman's voice was quiet, and when I looked at him, his expression was resigned, like he'd been waiting for this moment. He deserves the truth. What truth? My heart hammered. What aren't you telling me? Dante's jaw tightened. We knew you were coming. Not the exact night, but we knew the Syndicate would send someone eventually. We've had a leak in their organization for months. The floor tilted. You knew. We knew they'd assigned an Omega operative to our case 6 weeks ago. We knew your codename was Phantom. We didn't know it was you until you came through that window. He took a step toward me, my hands raised like I was a spooked animal. The bond, Kai, that was real. Everything after was real. But before wasn't. My voice sounded hollow. You were ready. You set this up. We were prepared, Sterling corrected. There's a difference. We needed to know who the Syndicate sent, what their plan was. But the mate bond? His eyes were intense, pleading. That we couldn't fake. You felt it. You know it's real. My phone buzzed again. I looked down, and the message made my blood run cold. Marcus, ask them about Project Songbird. Ask them what they paid me to send you. The world narrowed to that single sentence. Project Songbird. The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. All three of them went completely still, and that stillness told me everything I needed to know. What is Project Songbird? I asked. My voice was steady, clinical, the same tone I used before putting a bullet in someone's skull. And what did you pay Marcus? It's not what you think, Roman started. Then tell me what it is. My hand moved to my knife without conscious thought. Right now, or I walk out that door and finish what I came here to do. Dante looked at his brothers, some silent communication passing between them. Then he turned back to me, and the devastation in his eyes almost made me forgive him before I even knew what he'd done. Project Songbird was a Syndicate operation, he said quietly. They were consolidating power, eliminating anyone who might threaten their hold on the Pacific Northwest. We were on their list. So we made a deal. What deal? We told Marcus we'd pay triple his asking price if he sent his best operative. Sterling's voice was flat, emotionless. Someone skilled enough to get close, but someone we might be able to turn, someone who might choose us over them if given the right incentive. The betrayal hit like a physical blow. You bought me, like I was some kind of asset to acquire. No. Dante moved fast, catching my arm before I could bolt. We bought time. A chance. We didn't know about the bond, Kai. We didn't know you'd be... He stopped, something raw flashing across his face. We didn't know you'd be you. I wrenched free. So what, you felt the bond and thought, perfect. This makes the manipulation easier? Keep the Omega close. Make him think he's wanted. And he'll roll over and betray his entire organization? That's not how it was, Roman said, but his voice lacked conviction. Then how was it? I was shaking now, fury and hurt warring in my chest. Explain to me how paying my handler to send me here to kill you is anything other than a setup. Explain how any of this was real. The bond is real, Dante said desperately. Everything after you walked through that door was real. Yes, we orchestrated the meeting, but we couldn't orchestrate fate. We couldn't make you our mate. That was always supposed to happen, Kai. We just accelerated the timeline. My precognition flashed. Marcus watching through a camera I hadn't spotted. Marcus collecting payment. Marcus laughing because I'd fallen for exactly what he'd planned. I'm not your mate, I said, and saying it out loud felt like tearing out my own heart. I'm your investment, your project. You saw an opportunity and you took it, and I was stupid enough to believe. My voice cracked. I let you in. I told you things I've never told anyone. And the whole time, this was a business transaction. No. Sterling grabbed my shoulders, forcing me to look at him. Listen to me. Yes, we made a deal with Marcus. Yes, we knew you were coming. But the second you came through that window, everything changed. You weren't a project anymore. You were ours. Our mate. Our purchased Omega. I shoved him back. That's what I am. That's all I've ever been. Something to be used by whoever pays the highest price. My phone rang. Marcus. Of course, I answered, putting it on speaker because I wanted them to hear this and wanted them to understand what they'd done. Having fun yet? Marcus's voice was smooth, amused. Did they tell you about the $100,000 they wired me last month? Did they mention that sending you was my idea, not theirs? They wanted intel. I gave them an Omega with abandonment issues and a desperate need to be wanted. You played your part beautifully, Kai. I'm done, I said, with all of you, the Syndicate, the Cross family, this whole nightmare. You don't get to be done. Marcus's tone sharpened. You have 12 hours to complete the contract or become one yourself. Kill them or I'll kill you. Choose. The line went dead. I looked at the three alphas who just shattered something fundamental inside me. You wanted to accelerate fate? Congratulations. You just ensured I have 12 hours to either murder you or die trying. Kai, please. Dante reached for me. I pulled my gun, aimed it at his chest. My hand didn't shake this time. Don't, I whispered. Don't touch me. Don't follow me. Just don't. Then I ran, out the door, down the stairs, into the rain that had never stopped falling. Behind me, I heard Sterling shout my name, but I didn't look back. I couldn't, because if I looked back, I'd stay. And staying meant forgiving them for treating me like a commodity instead of a person. And I'd rather die than be someone's purchased happy ending. The rain hit harder now, like the sky was punishing me for being stupid enough to hope. I made it 3 blocks before my legs gave out, and I collapsed against a brick wall in an alley that smelled like garbage and broken dreams. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. My precognition was going haywire, showing me futures branching in every direction. Kill them. Run. Die. Go back. Each path led somewhere terrible, and I couldn't see which one was least likely to destroy me. Get up, I told myself. Move. You've survived worse than this. Except I hadn't. I'd survived violence, betrayal, loss, but I'd never survived feeling this much and losing it in the same breath. That was new. That was the kind of pain that made a person understand why some Omegas just gave up. My phone buzzed. I almost threw it in the nearest dumpster, but years of conditioning made me look. Unknown, Dante. I know you won't read this. I know you hate us, but you deserve the full truth, not Marcus's version. Unknown, Dante. We approached him 6 weeks ago. Offered money for information about his operative. He counteroffered he'd send you directly to us if we paid triple. Said you were difficult and he wanted you handled. Unknown, Dante. We took the deal because we wanted to protect you from him. We researched you, saw what you'd survived, saw how he used you. We thought if we could get you here, We could offer you a choice he never did. Pardon, Dante. The bond wasn't part of the plan. That was fate, or destiny, or whatever you want to call it. But it was real. Unknown Sterling. He's crying, by the way. Dante. First time in 8 years. Just thought you should know. Unknown Roman. We fucked up. We should have told you immediately. But we were scared you'd run before you felt it too. Before you knew what we were to each other. Unknown Roman. For what it's worth, we'd take it back. All of it. We'd rather lose you honestly than keep you through manipulation. Unknown Sterling. Marcus is at the Syndicate safe house on 5th. He's waiting for you to come back so he can handle the situation personally. His words. I'm sending you this because you deserve to know what you're walking into. Unknown Sterling. Also, there's a sniper on the roof across from that safe house. Has been for 3 hours. Draw your own conclusions. My hands shook. Marcus was going to kill me. Whether I completed the contract or not, I was dead. He'd set this whole thing up as a trap, and I'd walked right into it. Number. Not a trap. An execution. My vision pulsed, and suddenly I saw it clearly. Marcus in the safe house smiling. Me walking through the door. The sniper's red dot on my back. 3 seconds. That's all I'd get. On a bastard, I whispered. You absolute bastard. He'd sold me to the Cross Brothers, then planned to kill me for taking the deal. Probably blame my death on them, use it as justification to move against their territory. I was never supposed to survive this. I was just a pawn he'd sacrificed to start a war. Another text came through. Unknown, Dante. We're not asking you to forgive us. We're asking you to let us help. Let us protect you from him. Please. I stared at the screen, rain blurring the words. Every instinct screamed at me to handle this alone. To walk into that safe house, kill Marcus, and disappear. That's what the old Kai would do. The weapon, the survivor who trusted no one. But the old Kai had never felt what a mate bond was like. Had never been kissed like he was something precious. One had never been held like he was worth protecting. My precognition showed me 2 paths again, clearer this time. Path 1, go to the safe house alone. Kill Marcus, die from the sniper. End. Path 2, go back to the penthouse. Trust 3 alphas who'd lied, but also told me truths no one else ever had. Live. Maybe. This is insane, I muttered, pushing off the wall. My legs were steadier now. This is absolutely insane. I started walking, not toward the safe house, not toward certain death, toward Westlake. My phone rang. Marcus. I answered but didn't speak. Running back to your alphas? His voice dripped contempt. Pathetic. I trained you better than this, Kai. You're supposed to be a weapon, not some lovesick Omega begging for scraps. You trained me to survive, I said quietly, and I'm very good at it. Good enough to know when I'm being played. Oh, you figured it out. Adorable. Doesn't change the fact that you have 11 hours to bring me 3 corpses, or you become one yourself. Counter offer. I stopped walking, standing in the middle of an empty street with rain pouring over me. You leave Seattle tonight, and I don't tell the entire underworld that Marcus Chen sells out his own operatives for profit. Silence, then a laugh. Cold, mean. You think anyone would believe you? You think you have any credibility left after running to the enemy? I think the Cross family has recordings of every conversation you've had with them for the past 6 weeks. I think Sterling is very good at collecting evidence, and I think your reputation won't survive that kind of exposure. Another pause. Longer this time. So you're bluffing. Am I? I started walking again, faster now. Test me, please. I've had a really bad night, and I'd love an excuse to watch your empire collapse. If you don't show up in the next hour, I'll burn down every safe house you've ever used. I'll kill every contact you have. I'll make sure you spend the rest of your very short life looking over your shoulder. Get in line. I've been doing that since I was 15. I hung up, blocked his number, and ran. The obsidian tower appeared through the rain like a beacon, or a coffin, hard to tell which. I burst through the lobby doors, ignoring the security guard's startled yelp, and slammed the elevator button. My precognition showed me what was waiting upstairs. 3 alphas, worried, angry, devastated, hoping I'd come back but not believing I actually would. For the elevator climbed, my heart climbed with it. The doors opened. Dante, Roman, and Sterling stood in the hallway outside their penthouse, soaked like they'd been searching the streets. They all looked at me simultaneously, and the hope that flashed across their faces hurt more than any wound I'd ever taken. "I'm still furious with you," I said before any of them could speak. "You manipulated me. You lied. You treated me like a chess piece." "We know," Dante said hoarsely, "but Marcus is trying to kill me, and apparently I'm too stubborn to die alone." I walked toward them, each step feeling like falling and flying simultaneously. "So here's the deal. You help me take him down. Then we talk about whether this bond thing is real or just very convincing trauma bonding." Sterling smiled. It was small, cautious. "Latch's deal." Also, I stopped right in front of Dante, looked up into his storm gray eyes. "If you ever lie to me again, I will shoot you. Not around you. Actually, you. Understood?" His hand reached out slowly, giving me every chance to pull away. When I didn't, he cupped my face like I was made of glass. "I'm sorry. We're all sorry." "Sorry doesn't fix it." "I know." His thumb brushed my cheekbone. "But maybe time will." My precognition showed me our future. Messy, complicated, beautiful, real. "Maybe," I whispered. Then his lips found mine, and for the first time all night, I let myself believe that maybe purchased beginnings could still become chosen endings, if we survived the next 11 hours. Dante's kiss tasted like rain and promises, and when we broke apart, all 3 of them were staring at me with identical expressions of fierce determination. "So," Roman said, cracking his knuckles, "how do you want to handle this? Direct confrontation? Tactical strike? Burn the whole safe house down and salt the earth?" "I love how murder is always your first solution," I said, but I was smiling despite everything. "We're going with option 4. Make Marcus think he's won, then destroy him with his own arrogance." Sterling's eyes lit up. "I'm listening." 20 minutes later, I stood outside the Syndicate safe house on 5th Street, hands zip-tied behind my back, blood smeared across my face from a staged fight. Roman's blood, actually, because he'd insisted on making it look authentic, and then proceeded to give himself a nosebleed through sheer alpha stubbornness. My precognition showed me the next 5 minutes in perfect clarity. Marcus would gloat. I'd play broken. Then Sterling's people would cut the power, Dante would breach from the east, and Roman would make sure the sniper never got a shot off. Simple. Elegant. Probably going to get us all killed, but at least we'd die together. That thought should have terrified me. Instead, it felt right. The safe house door opened. Marcus stood there, impeccable in his suit, smiling like he'd already won. "Kai, right on time. I'm almost impressed." "They beat me," I said, letting my voice shake. "Took your money and beat me anyway. Said I was defective merchandise." Something cruel flashed in his eyes. "Did they? Well, can't say I didn't warn you about trusting alphas." He grabbed my arm, hauled me inside. "Come on. Hey, let's discuss your severance package." The safe house was exactly as I remembered. Sterile, cold, weapons on every wall. Marcus led me to the center of the room, and I saw the sniper's red dot appear on the floor exactly where my precognition said it would. "Here's how this works," Marcus said, circling me like a predator. "You tell me everything the Cross brothers are planning. Every weakness, every secret, every vulnerability. Then I let you live long enough to watch them die. And if I don't," he pulled out a gun, "then the sniper takes you out the second you become boring." My vision pulsed. 3 seconds. Power cuts. "You know what, Marcus?" I smiled. "You were right about one thing. You did train me well. Well enough to know when I'm being played. Well enough to see 3 moves ahead." His expression shifted. "What are you?" The lights died. Chaos erupted. I dropped to my knees as gunfire exploded from 3 directions. The zip ties fell away, pre-cut by Sterling before I'd left. I rolled, grabbed the knife I'd hidden in my boot, and came up just as Marcus fired blind into the darkness. My precognition guided every move. Duck left. The bullet whistled past my ear. Step right. Marcus's second shot went wide. Forward. My knife found his shoulder, and he screamed. "You little—" "I'm not little," I said, twisting the blade. "I'm exactly the weapon you made me. You just forgot I could choose who I aim at." The emergency lights flickered on. Dante stood in the doorway, gun trained on Marcus. Roman appeared from the back, the sniper's rifle slung over his shoulder. Sterling materialized from the shadows, holding evidence files that would destroy Marcus's entire operation. "It's over," Dante said. Cold. Final. "Your people are in custody. Your accounts are frozen. Your reputation is about to become a cautionary tale." Marcus looked between all of us, and for the first time since I'd known him, he looked afraid. "Kai, we can make a deal. You can shut up," I interrupted, "because I'm done listening to people who treat me like a commodity." I looked at Dante, at Roman, at Sterling. "Even when they're people I'm starting to care about." Dante's expression softened. "Kai, you manipulated me," I said. "You bought time with me like I was some kind of limited time offer. That was wrong. It hurt. And I'm not going to pretend it didn't." "We know," Sterling said quietly. "And we'll spend however long it takes proving we see you as more than that." "Years if necessary," Roman added. "Decades. However long you need." I pulled the knife from Marcus's shoulder, ignoring his pained gasp. "Here's what's going to happen. Marcus gets turned over to his very angry former clients. They can decide what to do with him." I turned to face the 3 alphas who'd somehow become my entire world in one impossible night. "And you 3, you're going to court me. Properly. No deals, no manipulation, no shortcuts. You're going to earn this bond." Dante's smile was slow, genuine, devastating. "We can do that." "Good, because I have conditions." I started ticking them off on my fingers. 1, no more lying, ever. I don't care if you think it's for my own good. 2, I keep my independence. I'm not some trophy Omega who stays home and looks pretty. 3, you teach me everything you know about running this operation, because if I'm going to be connected to you, I'm going to be useful." "Done," all 3 said simultaneously. 4, I continued, stepping closer. "When we do this bond thing, it's my choice, my timing. Not because of fear or circumstance or Marcus's deadline, because I want it." "Absolutely," Sterling breathed. My precognition showed me the future again. Clear this time. No danger, no death. Just years of messy, complicated, perfect life with 3 alphas who'd started as targets and ended as something I couldn't quite name yet. Love, maybe, or fate, or just the right kind of madness. "Also," I said, looking at Dante, "that kiss earlier? We're going to need to practice that a lot." "You're good." "Yeah, but I have notes." Roman burst out laughing. Sterling grinned. Dante crossed the space between us in 2 strides and kissed me again. Deeper this time, claiming and questioning all at once. When we broke apart, I was breathless and smiling, and somehow impossibly happy. "So," Roman said, hauling Marcus to his feet, "what do we do with you?" I looked at the man who'd controlled my life for 5 years, who'd tried to make me a weapon with no will of my own, and I felt nothing but pity. "Let him go," I said. Everyone stared at me. "Let him go," I repeated, "with nothing. No money, no power, no reputation. Let him spend the rest of his life knowing the Omega he tried to break is the one who destroyed him." Marcus's face went white. "You can't—" "I just did." I turned my back on him, on that whole chapter of my life. "Come on." "Oh, no, I was promised Thai food and emotional processing. Let's go home." "Home," Dante repeated softly, like the word was sacred. And maybe it was. We left Marcus in that sterile safe house with Sterling's evidence files and a future full of consequences. We walked out into the rain that had finally stopped, leaving behind the world of contracts and assassinations and purchase connections. 3 months later, I stood in the same penthouse where I'd once tried to kill 3 alphas, watching the Seattle sunrise paint the sky gold and pink. Strong arms wrapped around me from behind. "Morning," Dante murmured against my neck. "You're up early." Couldn't sleep. Kept thinking about what today means. Today. The day I'd finally decided I was ready. Ready to accept the bond. Ready to choose them completely. Roman appeared with coffee. A Sterling followed with breakfast. And surrounded by 3 alphas who learned to see me, truly see me, I felt something I'd never felt before. Safe. Chosen. Home. "Ready?" Dante asked, and his eyes held everything we'd survived, everything we'd overcome, everything we'd become. I thought about 15-year-old me, burning down a pack house to save himself. 20-year-old me, certain he'd die alone and unnamed. And now me, standing in a penthouse full of people who'd fought to earn my trust. "Yeah," I whispered, "I'm ready." My precognition showed me our future one last time. Not perfect, never perfect, but ours. Chosen. Real. And that was everything.